Hi, welcome to my channel. Here for the first time, welcome back if you're following. It's that time. Today is the last day of 2024. So, we're going to do a recap of all the books I read this year. I'm going to try to start doing this every year. Guys, I promise, it's one of my goals in 2025. I'm going to try to do better of posting every week. So, this is the first attempt of making sure I post every week. So, simply one at a time, I'm going to go through all the books I read in 2024 and share a brief summary. Okay, some people can read a lot more books than me, so I realize I need to step on my reading. But no theme songs, because this would be a very long video. But yeah, so we're gonna start. So 2024, to get ready for a series swap I did with Ian. Go check out his channel, Ian Doobly, where I gave him the Twilight series to read. I'm not gonna share my opinions in this video on these books, besides whether or not I think you should read them. But I go in more depth in that video. Ian and I are talking about it, so go check out that video on his channel. But I started out reading the Twilight series. So, Twilight by Stephenie Meyer. Okay. Summary of the book: Bella Swan moves to a little town called Forks to be with her dad because her mom is married to a baseball player and wants to travel. So she moves to Forks, where she meets Edward Cullen, who is a drumroll please, vampire. So this story goes through her finding out he's a vampire and then being brought into his world. And there's something that goes wrong. So I'm gonna say that. Yeah, moving to the end. Okay. Next book. I'm still reading the Twilight series. So New Moon by Stephenie Meyer is the second one. This is where something happens at the beginning of the book, and Edward decides to leave. So Bella actually gets really close to a friend called Jacob Black. So this is kind of the story of Jacob and Bella's relationship forming, because Jacob, and learning about the world of werewolves, because Jacob is a werewolf, right? Just because vampires wasn't enough, we gotta bring werewolves into this. So, her getting close to Jacob as he learns that he's a werewolf and trying to manage that. And then Bella at the end has to go end up helping Edward. So that's all I'm going to say about that. The third one in the Twilight Saga that I read this in 2024 was Eclipse. So, this is... where do I want to start with this? So basically, one of the villains from the first book decides to create a vampire army. So Eclipse is about the werewolves, the vampires, and Bella coming together to try to stop this vampire army. Newsflash, the werewolves and vampires don't like each other, plus you get this love triangle going on in this book. So there's lots of drama in this book. Okay. Fourth one in the Twilight Saga is Breaking Dawn. This story, Bella and Edward get married. Okay, I'm just gonna say this. There will be some spoilers. I should have said that before the first part. But it starts with a wedding, a baby, and then the Cullens kind of have to not form an army, but get people on their side. Because you can imagine vampire, human, coming together, make a baby. Yeah, like I said, I'm trying not to go into these. This series. Yes, I would recommend reading it. I do enjoy it. Go watch my video with you. You know that I have some strong opinions about it. I mean, there are some serious loopholes. Not loopholes. Things that I don't like about it. But, I mean, it's a fun little story to read. And then, just because these two go with them, after that, I've only wanted to read it again because I read it twice, is Midnight Sun by Stephenie Meyer. Basically, Midnight Sun is Twilight, but from Edward's perspective. So it is kind of cool, a lot of the same conversations, but there is kind of like, in Twilight, a 2-week period where Edward leaves. And so you kind of get to see that and where he goes. So, I mean, I would recommend reading it if you really enjoy Twilight, just to get a little more, and then, guys. Then I read Life and Death by Stephenie Meyer. This, honestly, my favorite out of all of them. I really like this. This is basically Twilight, but Ginger Swap. So it's Beau Swan and Edith Cullen. So basically, same story, but this time the girl's a vampire. Guys, oh, this is my favorite. This one I would recommend, even if you didn't have Twilight. I actually like this better. The ending, completely different. I'm not going to spoil it, but I would recommend it. Even if, like I said, you don't like the Twilight series, read Life and Death by Stephenie Meyer. She did this, this was like a 20-year anniversary. She wrote it later with, and of course, Stephenie Meyer changing some things she wished she would have done the first time. So, that is good. Sorry, I'm looking at the order I read these in. Okay. The next one that I read in 2024 is The Girl Who Drank the Moon. And for the life of me, I cannot remember who this is by, so I am sorry. But, so some of these, to make sure I explain it right, I might have some summaries pulled up. Okay. So basically, this story, there are some witches, and every year, so that the town is safe from the witch, they take the newest born baby into the woods as a sacrifice. And I quote, I know this sounds dark, but the witch they're trying to say this was from is actually a good witch. Sorry, this is probably going to spoil the whole book for you. But anyway, and it's like, why are they just leaving these babies in the wood? Like, I don't understand it. So she takes it to this other town where they're raised by the other town people as one of their own. But one of the babies, named Luna, is accidentally magicked by Zan, who is the witch. So that's basically, it's kind of their story. There's a little more that goes into it. Would I recommend you read this? I mean, I guess it wasn't a horrible book. It's one of those that I probably will never read again. I mean, it wasn't like one of my favorites. Sorry, my hair is doing weird things. But, I mean, if you want a cute little story, yeah, why not read it? Why not? That's what you got to. Okay, then, the next one I read was I'm going to probably butchered this name. Licanius series. I did this. This was part of the series swap I did with Ian. So again, go check out that video so you can get my more opinions. But Ian read Twilight, and Ian gave me this to read. Let's see. And I am trying to remember the. Okay. Perfect. So, the Licania series starts with a book called The Shadow of What Was Lost. And these books are by James Islington. So, basically, this book follows Davian, and he figures out that he has these forbidden powers, and so he and his friends were in Asha kind of set things in the motion that would change everything. This book was really good. That's basically something, yeah, good world building. Then the second one is an echo of things to come. So basically, this one so you figure out that Word is actually the son of the North Warden. So his father dies. This book, he is North Warden and is trying to figure it out. There are some new characters introduced. So I'm trying to figure out how to explain this. There's guys, I'm sorry, I'm not explaining these right, but there's just so much that goes into these books, and I'm trying not to give too much away so that you read them. But where it becomes North Warden, let's just say there's a lot of things that are going on in the back that are discovered that need to be fixed. Like the first one said, these three friends, after Davian figures out that he has these forbidden powers. It sets interchange of events. So these are kind of some, but there are some key players caught into this one. Really good. And then the third one is the light of all that falls. Good. So basically, this book starts off with Davian imprisoned in a strange land. So he has to come over that. On the other side, Wyr's fighting this war against what they call the Vinneret. And they explain who all that is. I'm not sure if it's the second one or the third one. That's basically it. Again, lots of events take place. I mean, these books are like really big, so it's hard to like summarize everything without going into so much detail. But the Licania series, I would definitely recommend. Good world building, good strong characters, a story that keeps you interested. You're not just like, oh. But yeah. Okay. The next series, I read a lot of series this year, I realized. Is the Mayfield Family Saga. So this book starts with a book. This series is by Josie S. Kilpack. This is called Promises and Primroses. So this story is about a girl, basically a nanny, moves in to a widow. He's pretty young, but his wife died. He has 2 kids to take care of, so she moves in. These are your basic love stories, so I hate to ruin it, but I mean, it's pretty obvious how they're gonna end. These two fall in love. Oh, I guess the main thing about this, let me back up. the uncle, there is an uncle, Mayfield, obviously, because it's called the Mayfield Family Saga. He wants to incentivize his nieces and nephews, right? Not married, had no kids of his own, but he wants to incentivize his nieces and nephews to basically marry well. Because, let's just say, back in this time, that's what your job was. You were supposed to marry well. So, Promises and Primroses is the first nephew. Yes, he finds himself widowed, has 2 kids, so he hires a nanny. And you can guess how it ends. They end up falling in love, blah, blah, blah. Just kidding, not blah, blah, blah. But I just love a good romance. So, what I'm saying is, this book is pretty predictable. Then, you have Daisies and Devotion is the second one. So this is the second nephew. Basically, this story follows these 2 really good friends. And then, surprise, they realize, oh dang, we actually are enough. Because I believe this. Every good relationship, like, the person you marry should be your best friend. So I feel like it always starts with being really good friends, and then you're like, oh, maybe we should be more. But that's what Daisy and Devotion is. These 2 really close friends end up realizing that they fall in love, because the nephew, he's like, okay, I'll marry someone to get money. I mean, it's not necessarily money. The uncles incentivize, each has their own personalized gift from him to incentivize to get married. So, that is the second one. Third one is, oops, no, that is very bright. Rakes and Roses. Okay, Rakes and Roses. This woman comes from basically, she was a, how much do I tell you guys? Oh, so that I don't spoil anything, let's just say her background is not the best. She comes from a hard background. I guess to explain, I do have to spoil one part. One piece of her background is that she was in an abusive relationship. Her husband abused her, but he ended up dying. So now, basically, she has a lot of money, so she helps people who basically have hit rock bottom, right? Like, they lost all their money to gambling, this or that, like they're in serious trouble. Basically, she's like, I'll give you money. Only caveat, you actually have to try to be a good person. Right, so basically she tries to go and rescue these people. Well, she falls in love with one of them. It's actually a good story. This is probably my second favorite out of all of them. Good story, so yeah. The last one in the Mayfield Family Saga that I read in 2024 is Love and Lavender. This one was my favorite. This story, okay, at first it kind of freaked me out because I was like, ooh, they're cousins. But one is technically not a cousin by blood. One of the uncle's sisters took an award, and he was taking care of this child. But it follows this one girl. Let's just say they both have special needs. Knowing I'm a special education teacher, right, for preschool, so reading this, autism, he has autism. I mean, he is higher functioning, and then she has a cleft foot. So they decide to just marry each other. They're like, let's just get married so we can get our inheritance. But the uncle's like, that's not what this is for, so you have to be married for at least a year. So they're like, fine. Well, you know, these are love stories. So by the end of the year, they actually are found one another, realize that they're in love, and they're kind of perfect for each other. I recommend this series if you love cheesy love stories like I do, and I'm sorry if I'm not explaining these great. But read them if, yeah, because who doesn't love a cheesy love story? So the next one I read 2024 is Pretty Much Perfect by Sally Johnson. So this is about basically a girl who seems perfect on the inside, right? Very religious. She served a mission for her church. Comes home, bam. She just has a plan. Right? She's going to go to college, do this and that. So it seems like her life is perfect on the inside. Well, her whole life changes when she decides to pick up a stranger on the side of the road. In a good way. In a good way. Nothing bad happens. But just things spark between them. And then she's like, I thought I had everything figured out. And then you just come and you throw everything. And so it's them kind of, they come from two different worlds, this one girl. So it's her trying to be like, this will never work. Like, we're just too different. We come from two different worlds. So it's kind of them working through that. So that is Pretty Much Perfect by Sally Johnson. I would recommend it. It's pretty cute. I'm a sucker for romance though. So the next series I read was Anne of Green Gables. So this is an 8-book series. Book number 1 is called Anne of Green Gables. This is a story about a brother and sister who are just old at this time and never married. They're getting older, so they need help. So they decide to adopt an orphan and bring him into the home. They want a boy, but surprise, surprise. There's a mix-up with who they sent, and they get Anne. Anne Shirley. So, Anne of Green Gables is the first book in a series about just her adventures as a young kid, right? She just has to come and she gets into a lot of mischief. So there's a lot of mischief in this book, but yeah, this is her just coming, going to school. Okay. The second one is Anne of, I always pronounce this, Avonlea. This is her, so I guess there they do a different, and this is, because she's from King Edward Island, I think that's right. So they do it different, like she hasn't been to college yet, but she teaches for a year. So Anne of Avonlea is about her teaching at the school, so that she can kind of stick around and help Marilla. Third one is Anne of the Island. This is where she goes off to, I think it's I'm going to pronounce it. She goes off to college, essentially. So it's her, I forget how many years she spends there, but these are her years in college, where she goes off to an island to do that. Really good. What number am I on? 4. Fourth one, Anne of Windy Poplar. So this is where she goes for 3 years. She becomes a principal of high school. So she moves to Windy Poplars for 3 years. This is a little love story, so this is basically her just like, okay, I'm gonna chill. No, this is a spoiler. She's waiting for her and Gilbert Blythe to be there. He's going to medical school, so basically this is her 3 years while he's in medical school. She's like, I'm just gonna teach and do this while you're in medical school. And then 6th one is Anne House of Dreams. So number 6, there's a wedding, and this is basically their first kind of year of marriage in their House of Dreams. They're renting a little house. I want to say it's Gilbert's uncle, who is a doctor there. He's retiring, so Gilbert they move in for a year to take the bus. This is number 6. Sorry, I am like really so bad. Anne of Ingleside. So family needs to expand, so instead of renting, they decide to actually buy their own house. So Anne of Ingleside is kind of their first. After the first year, just kind of owning their own house, and Gilbert getting set up as a doctor. 7th one is Rainbow Valley. This story is less about Anne and Gilbert and more about just their kids and their kids' kind of life as young children. Okay? Yeah. Last one, number 8, is Rilla of Ingleside. This follows closely Rilla, who is named after Marilla, so they call her Rilla. This is basically about her life. Older now, I think she's 15. This is a good series. I love how it follows her life. There's actually a lot of ups and downs, which is good. I feel like it follows life that way. I would really recommend this. They're cute reads, but also, guys, I'm not gonna lie, there was times that I was reading this book, I was like, just crying, because it really, there are some touching, hard things that happen in this book. So, read Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery. Sorry, I didn't say who it was by earlier. Next book I read in 2024 was Moby Dick by Herman Melville. I did a blog video on this, so if you want to know my thoughts, go read that. Ian and I also buddy read this, so go to his channel and see us both talking about it, because Moby Dick. Basically, this follows Captain Ahab, and basically he's chasing Moby Dick because he's the white whale and he's evil. Would I recommend this book? Okay, true thoughts. The first part and the last part are really good, but in the middle, and it's not that it's bad, there's just a lot of like, in this book, and I kind of talked about this, but like, here's 2 chapters on which whale paintings are the most accurate, and here's a chapter on all of the whale books you need to read, and then there's a chapter on like all the different kinds of whales, so things like that. I would recommend it, but just know that Moby Dick is not a book that you can read fast. It's a harder read because, yeah, you do kind of have to get through all of that. But yeah, Ian and I read that, so if you want more thoughts, go check on that. Next, I read, Harry Potter is my absolute favorite series of all time. I pretty much have read it every year since I was like in 3rd grade. I might have skipped a few years. But I apologize. I did promise a video, but I haven't made it yet. Just turn me if I will. I probably will because I do read it every year and it is my favorite. So You'll probably get a Harry Potter video. I'm sorry you haven't got it yet, but again, I'm new at this whole booktube thing, and I'm trying to get my groove and figure out how to do it. But stay tuned for a Harry Potter video. There will probably be one. Harry Potter. This is a 7-book series. Book number 1, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So, this book starts off with a boy called Harry Potter. So I like to say it that way, Harry Potter. Basically, he finds out he is a wizard with magical powers. So, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is his first year of school, because obviously you're young, you gotta be trained on how to do this magic. And he has to end up stopping Lord Voldemort from getting the Sorcerer's Stone, which is the elixir of life that makes someone immortal. Yeah. So, number 2 in the Harry Potter series is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. This is Harry Potter's 2nd year. Each book is a year at school. This one, there's a lot of weird things that happened this year. A warning not to go back to school. Then they have to find an alternative way to get to Hogwarts because the barrier is closed. Lots of things, basically warning him not to go, preventing him, but he ends up at school. And then this year, the heir of Slytherin opens the Chamber of Secrets. There is a legend that Slytherin, Salazar Slytherin, one of the founding fathers of Hogwarts, wanted only pure bloods, which is people who come from 2 magical parents. So he created, when he was there, a Chamber of Secrets with this monster that went around killing those with non-magical blood. Or squibs, which are those who come from magical parents but don't end up having magical powers. So Harry has to basically figure out where the Chamber of Secrets is and stop it. Number 3 in the Harry Potter series is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. In this one, Harry learns a little more backstory about how his parents actually ended up dying. Like, he knew it was Voldemort, but this book you kind of figure out that Harry's parents was betrayed by one of his friends. It is the Prisoner of Azkaban because James Potter, which is Harry's dad's best friend, breaks out of Azkaban, and everyone thinks, sorry, spoiler, that he's after Harry, but he's not. So this is the book of Harry learning about the betrayal that ended up in his parents' death, and then coming to uncover the truth about what really happened, and getting to know Sirius Black, his dad's best friend. Number 4 in the Harry Potter series is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. This is year number 4, sorry. Prisoner of Azkaban is Harry's 3rd year. Hogwarts. Goblet of Fire is Harry's 4th year. 4th year. Lots of things happen. So first, there is the Quidditch World Cup. So Harry gets to go to that, but there are some events that happen, and then he goes to Hogwarts, where Hogwarts is hosting the Tri-Wizard Tournament. You have to be 17 to enter, but Harry gets entered into the tournament. It has to be the 4th. There's only supposed to be 3, but he becomes the 4th Tri-Wizard champion. So this book follows the tasks that he has to do. And spoiler, it ends with him seeing Voldemort rise back to power. 5th book in the Harry Potter series is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This book is sort of basically, the Ministry of Magic is basically telling everyone that Harry's lying about Voldemort returning. So this is Harry's 5th year, trying to navigate all of the backlash of that. And then he gets attacked by Dementors, once Voldemort's back, and ends up learning about the Order of the Phoenix, and this is an order that is dedicated to fighting Voldemort and his powers. So, yeah, they do that. So, Harry ends up having to help the Order of the Phoenix a little bit. This book, you get the prophecy. You learn about the prophecy that led to Voldemort going after Harry's parents to begin with. So, good book. Trying to think of anything else I want to say about the book. No, that's basically it. Harry just goes through a lot in the 5th book, and he's dealing with a lot because I forgot to say about the 4th one. He watches someone he knows dies right in front of him, so he's dealing with that. The backlash of everyone calling him a liar. Okay. 6th book in the Harry Potter series is Harry Potter and the Order and the Half-Blood Prince. This is Harry's 6th year. This one, he works very closely with Dumbledore. You get a lot of backstory on Voldemort when he was a child. And Harry gets a potions book that belonged to the Half-Blood Prince. So this book, you get to see Harry using that potions book, trying to figure out who the Half-Blood Prince is, and then you get all the backstory of Dumbledore. Well, not of Dumbledore. Dumbledore tells Harry the backstory of Voldemort. And they kind of talk about what Voldemort's end goal is. I don't want to give it away if you haven't read Harry Potter, but what Voldemort's trying to do. So, you get a lot about that. The 7th and last book in the Harry Potter series is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. In this book, gotta stretch out. Harry decides not to go back to school because he is basically set to go out based on information he got from the 6th book. He is hunting things that will help him defeat Voldemort. And then, so he's doing that, and then he learns about the Deathly Hallows along the way. So, yeah. This is a book of Harry getting things he needs to defeat Voldemort. I'm not going to say the ending. A lot of you probably already know it because let's just say Harry Potter probably. Okay. Next book is Lovely War by Julie Berry. This is part of a book swap I'm doing with Ian, so I'm not going to share my opinions. Basically, this book follows 4 couples in World War I time, and it basically is the gods. And I don't know if interfering is the right word, because they're not really supposed to interfere, but it's basically kind of how 4 gods bring these 4 people, 2 couples, right? 2 boys, 2 girls, kind of bring these 2 couples together. Oh, by the way, Harry Potter I'd recommend this one. It's really good. I'm going to share my thoughts more on it with my book swap with Ian. I'm planning on doing a video of the book swap on my channel, so stay tuned for that video. But, yeah. I am a religious person, so this book is called After All We Can Do by Peter F. Uchtdorf. It just talks about I'm not going to go too much into this because I don't know how many of you religious is okay. If not, you can skip this book if you are. But just talked about how hope, grace, and joy kind of play into our lives. Really good. If you are religious, I would recommend it because it was really good. And then the last one I read was The Christmas Train by David Baldacci. So this book, it follows Tom, who basically decides to ride a train from one end of the country to the other, because a lot of people in this book actually hate flying, so they're like, let's just ride the train. I forget where he's going, but he's going to LA, but I forget where he's coming from. But basically, this is a story of his adventures on the train. Really good. I recommend reading it. So yeah, that is, sorry, this is a very long video. That is all the books I read in 2024. Thank you for staying this long. So if you like this video, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe, because why not? What else do you have to do besides subscribe to my channel? You know you want to. Please comment your opinions on any of the books I shared about, any books you would recommend that were similar, or I want to hear, maybe comment your favorite book that you read in 2024 so that maybe I could have some ideas for 2025. I'm very excited about 2025. Like I said, I'm going to try. My goal is a video a week. I have a list of things I want to do, but we'll see if that happens. So stay tuned for more videos. If I talked about a book that I didn't see a video of, that means it was either pretty long ago, so I'm not going to do it, or I'm still going to. We're going to try to start fresh in 2024. But thank you. I'm not doing theme songs because that's a lot of books. I think I already said that. But yes. Please comment any books that are similar, your opinions on any of them, or books you read in 2024 that you think I would like. And guys, welcome to 2025. We'll see you next year. This is my wrap up of 2024 books that I have read. See you next year. Bye.